Welcome to another episode of Nintendo News Daily. I'm your host, N64 Josh. And before we jump into this, I want to let you guys know that Elgato is having a huge sale right now. 30% off certain products. So make sure to head on over to n64josh.com/Elgato to check out all of the sales. Like if you're wanting to take your content creation to the next level, now is the time to do it. This is basically Black Friday level sales that they're having. So it's only for a week, so don't wait. Again, n64josh.com/Elgato. Now let's jump into the news. First up, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger to celebrate 30th anniversary with various projects. So it says expect more over the next year. So taking a look at the article from Nintendo Life here, it says a lot of classic video games are coming up on major milestones and anniversaries. And one of them happens to be Square Enix legendary 1995 RPG Chrono Trigger. Today actually happens to be the game's 30th anniversary since its initial Super Famicom and SNES release, and to mark the special occasion, Square Enix has announced it's planning a variety of projects over the next year, which will apparently go beyond the world of the game. This comes from a translation via the official company and game social media accounts. Here it is in full. This is the little blurb here. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the release of Chrono Trigger in 1995. This timeless masterpiece that transcends generations and is still talked about today was born from a dream project of Yuji Horii of Dragon Quest, Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball, and Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy. Hopefully I didn't butcher those too badly. As we work on the 30th anniversary, we will be launching various projects that go beyond the world of the game over the next year to express our gratitude to everyone who has played Chrono Trigger so far. The latest information will be posted on Square Enix official X and at Chrono Trigger PR. So please look forward to it. It says, in addition to the announcements, there will be a special live stream spotlighting the music of the game's soundtrack that will take place on the 14th of March, and you'll be able to watch on the Square Enix music channel on YouTube. If you would like to revisit this classic or experience it for the first time, you need to go beyond the Switch, as it has not been released on this platform, which makes me very sad. Hopefully this will change at some point in the future, especially now that the big anniversary has arrived. And Chrono Trigger is one of these games that, like, I know is so well beloved, and every time I see, especially now that I'm more into JRPGs, I want to play this game. Like, I want to play this game, and I'm like, well, do I pick it up on DS, or do I like put down a ton of money and go and find it on the SNES? But fingers crossed, we are going to see a release make its way to all modern consoles. Fingers crossed. And honestly, with the 30th anniversary and what they've been doing with like Dragon Quest HD 2D, that I would love to experience this game just like that. My only request would be give us the option to switch between old and new art styles, just to be able to experience some of the original pixel art and the way the game was originally designed. That would be it. So really excited to see what the future holds for Chrono Trigger, because again, I know how much people love this game, and I want to finally experience it. And so with the 30th anniversary, I'm hopeful that I will be able to experience it in the best way possible. Next up, we are heading over to the rumor mill, and apparently Xbox is expected to join the Switch 2 with a handheld this year. And I was a little bit shocked when I saw this. Like, there's been rumblings of Xbox working on a handheld, and I mean, it makes sense. The Switch has been super popular. Game Pass, I assume, would work fairly well on a handheld. We've even talked about it on the show. Maybe Game Pass comes to Switch at some point, but it seems like they're gonna be getting into the mix here with Steam Deck and with Switch. Let's take a look. They've kind of outlined, from what I've seen, their hardware plans. I don't know if they've leaked. I don't know how much of this is official. We'll jump into the article here and find out. But apparently, even 2027, there could be a new uh, like console from Xbox. So let's take a look here. Switch 2 is just around the corner, and according to a new report, it could be joined by a new Xbox handheld later in 2025. A new exclusive from Windows Central claims Microsoft is partnering with another company to deliver a PC gaming OEM. Think Asus, Lenovo, MSI, Razer, etc., and something similar to Lenovo's Steam OS partnership with Valve. This product, codename Keenan, is expected to look unmistakably Xbox, be more PC oriented, and will apparently come complete with an official Xbox guide button and Xbox design sensibilities. It would run on Windows and put the Microsoft Store and PC Game Pass at the forefront of the device, with the ability to install other programs like Steam. The same exclusive also notes how this is just a warm up for Microsoft, further claiming Xbox will release its own dedicated gaming handheld at some point in 2027. So it's not just the console, this is a handheld that they're teaming up with somebody and then their own handheld in 2027. Microsoft has already confirmed plans for a new console system and handheld. So we'll let you know if we hear any significant updates. Keep in mind, this latest update is a rumor, and Microsoft hasn't made any announcements about releasing a new handheld device this year. Xbox has already mixed up its strategy in recent times, confirming it will be bringing more games to more platforms in the future. This began in 2024 with the arrival of Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and Pentiment across platforms like the PlayStation 5 and Switch. Going forward, Xbox has promised the return of Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms, and Microsoft's gaming CEO Phil Spencer recently mentioned how excited he was for the Switch 2 and the tech giant's plans for multi-platform releases. So, really interesting to see the potential of Xbox getting into the handheld space. When I hear about these companies getting into the handheld space, I don't know how well they're going to do. I feel like Xbox will probably do better than, let's say, the Steam Deck. And again, that's just purely assumption. But then with like the Asus and the Lenovo and the MSI and Razer and all those other like PC handhelds out there, I just don't know that they're pulling the audience that they were really hoping to. And maybe they are. Maybe they're breaking records for what they were hoping to do. I'm not really sure, but I don't hear a lot of conversation about it. And for the most part, even when I talk to people that own like the Steam Deck, they're like, yeah, it's always hit or miss what I'm going to actually be able to play, which to me, that's not all that appealing. I would rather be able to buy something like the Switch and just know I'm going to be able to play what's going to be released on it, like, period, not wonder if this is coming, if this is going to work, that kind of stuff. So with something like this, it makes it a bit more appealing because you know that Game Pass is going to work. At least Game Pass PC will work with this handheld. And I do believe that is the case with some of these other handhelds. I know some of my friends have been playing on them, but there's just still not a huge appeal to me. Maybe I'm out in left field on this one, but I think a lot of it has to do with time also. Like, I barely touch my Xbox as it is. I have access to it and Game Pass if and when I want to play it. But when I am finding free time to play, I'm playing my Switch. That's what I'm playing. I'm currently going through Xenoblade Chronicles still, and excited for X to come out in just a couple days. And playing Smash, playing Mario Kart. That's where I'm having the most fun. If I am playing my Xbox, it's usually a little Fortnite, maybe a little Call of Duty, maybe some Halo, and that's kind of it. But be interesting to see how this will do, and to be completely honest, the more we can see the Switch have competition, the better, right? Because the last thing we want, and I think history has repeated itself multiple times with these gaming companies, when they're on top, they don't treat it as if they're struggling to get back into the market. And the more they play this game like they're struggling to stay in the market, just like Switch did in 2017, that's when that's when we win as the consumers. Think back on the way the Switch released so many of their games, and that first year, that second year, it was just game after game. The software was fantastic. We were seeing indies. It was all good. I want to see that same mindset with Switch 2. And it's not something that we typically see happen. History repeats itself. Xbox after the 360, the Xbox One was a flop. They were focused on Kinect and TV. It didn't pan out. PlayStation ate their lunch, and then you get into the next generation with the Series S and the Series X and the PS5. Same thing. But then Nintendo's just out, doing their own thing, just selling consoles like crazy. I mean, they're like 2 million away from beating the DS in sales, which is crazy, but it's gonna happen. And only 8 million away from being able to be the best-selling console ever. So Nintendo's definitely on top right now. We want to see them stay there by keeping the foot on the gas, having an incredible launch lineup, and the next 2 years are just loaded with first-party software and also third-party software. They have the potential right now to potentially to do something we haven't seen in the history of these consoles. I feel like PS4 to PS5, it went so well. Like, they've sold the hardware, but the software hasn't been there. So while it looked like they were going to, because Sony did it with PS2 to PS3, they dropped the ball. They were like, "Oh, get another job if you don't want to pay $600." Or it was crazy. This is time. This is Nintendo's time right now. So hopefully they keep the foot on the gas, and we get to see the next 2 years and even the next 8 years just be something incredible when it comes to the way Nintendo handles the Switch 2 and dealing with the competition of other handhelds like Microsoft. And there's rumors out there that Sony wants to get into the mix as well, because as gamers, it's very convenient being able to take the games that we play on the go. There's no doubt about that. Moving on here, Xenoblade Chronicles X, which we've mentioned a couple times on this show already today, is doing the crossover with Tetris 99. And so if you want to be able to participate in this event, it is going to be taking place on the 14th of March through the 18th. You've got to collect the 100 points, and that will get you the theme for Tetris 99. I'm going to try to do this one. I oftentimes forget over the weekend that they happen, and then I don't get a chance to collect it. You can collect them later if you want to, but I think it ends up costing you more points, or it takes longer, and you got to use like tickets and stuff. So I'm taking a quick peek at the video here that they have going on, and just kind of showcasing. They got the beautiful artwork in the background. The shapes look very, very cool. And so that's what I kind of just like to see, like what is the theme going to end up looking like. This is a good one. So if you're a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, or just the Xenoblade series, and you enjoy some Tetris, make sure that you don't miss out on this crossover. Next up, we're moving on to the Nintendo Music app. Classic Super Mario soundtrack joins Nintendo's music app for Mario Day. And I hope you guys had a great Mario Day. I had a lot of fun streaming and hanging out with a lot of you. So thank you so much for tuning in for that. But Super Mario Bros. 3 has made its way to Nintendo Music, and you're going to be looking at a total of 42 tracks with a total runtime of 32 minutes. So last month we got Super Mario Bros. 2 and The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and now Super Mario Bros. 3. It's nice to see that they're slowly drip feeding more and more of these soundtracks into this app. And I gotta say, it's something that I use on the regular and love listening to these games from my childhood. It's a lot of fun. Well, I kind of feel like I manifested this next one. This is exactly what I wanted to the T, and that is a new 18+ Lego Mario Kart set. And It looks amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to see it yet. I'm probably going to include it in the thumbnail on this. So it is it's so great. Like I wanted an 18 plus, like straight up like standard cart. They also included Mario. Like it could not it's literally everything I wanted. It's decently priced at 170, almost 2,000 pieces. Probably going to be extremely fun to build. Before too long, you're going to see it probably behind. If you're watching, you'll see it behind me next to the Mario Kart statue that I have there, and I can't wait to do this one. I cannot. When they announced they were going to be doing Mario Kart, and then it was with the action toys or whatever, the kids' toys. I wasn't super excited. You can actually see I have the standard Mario Kart back there. I did put it together. It was a very very simple build and designed to be with those toys. Not what I was hoping for. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and just seeing the size of it and some of the different pieces that they've come up with for this one. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And I'm honestly just looking forward to a day of like, probably putting on the Mario movie and just kind of chilling out and spending a couple hours building Legos. Like it sounds so relaxing. So I cannot wait for this one. The little video that they showed for it was fantastic. Pre-orders are up on lego.com. It is coming out on May 15th if this is one you want to pick up. And again, I could not be happier with this Lego set. So very very excited. Well, this is kind of interesting. Nintendo and Pokemon Company had not the best relationship, and this comes from Kit and Krista from their podcast, and so we'll take a look at the little the quotes here from the show. It says, Kit says we really can't undersell the kind of times. Let's see, we really can't undersell the kind of at times adversarial relationship that there was because like it kind of depended on what branch you were dealing with because like we would interact with Game Freak developers when they would come over and they were great and wonderful and very sweet and nice, even like the Pokemon Company in Japan, when you would get a glimpse of them, they seemed okay. But it was really the US teams that were very hits fists together. There were really a lot of butting heads moments. Krista says, well, some of the people that were on the US Pokemon team used to work at Nintendo. And there were several of them that had to leave their jobs at Nintendo because they moved the sales and marketing office. There was a little bit of salt, a little bit, I think, at times, and there's this layer of adversarial energy that also, but also this layer of competition, which was very prevalent throughout the NOA regions. We talked about and we joked around a lot about how it was always NOE and NOA hits fists together, um, like fighting to death for attention from Daddy and CL or whatever, like sibling rivalry. But there was definitely this kind of energy a little bit between the US Pokemon Company and NOA as well. There was this kind of tug of war for control. It was like, well, if you guys are talking about video games, you got to involve us. We need to be able to make sure that this shows properly on our systems. We need to make sure that we have involvement. And they're like, well, we're not talking about video games. We're talking about the brand. So you can't be involved. This is very interesting. So go away. Stop talking to us. So it was like this relationship around it that made a little tension. Back to Kit, he says it was also, again, this is something that changed around this time, but letter of the law versus spirit of the law, where we were cracking down on your pronunciations, and we would have Reggie do a video, and they're like, Reggie needs to re-record this, and that we're not going to re-record. It's close. It's Reggie. Like we can't get on his schedule again. You're just going to have to deal with it. Oh, we're going to hold a grudge about this. Oh, we're really mad. And they were melting down my beautiful ice sculptures like like, oh, Oshawtt's toenail isn't quite in proportion. Melt them down. There was a lot of stuff, of that ilk. This is so interesting. Like, I think one of the craziest things is watching these two move away from being a part of Nintendo and then being able to kind of share some of the behind the scenes stuff. And so very interesting to see that there was, so many just the butting of heads between NOA and the Pokemon company. And I mean, I guess it's not too unexpected when you really think about it because you're talking about two major brands, right? One of the biggest, I mean, Pokemon being one of the biggest brands in the world. Same with Nintendo, and they are going to be sticklers about the way they want things done. And but I mean, that one particular portion where they're like, "Yo, Reggie needs to re-record this because he didn't pronounce it right." Like that is so that is so me. The way the way I name or try to pronounce Pokemon. Yeah, forget it. Forget it. So I'm on Team Reggie here. Just do your best and see what happens. But so interesting to see the way these things have turned out. I mean, and even I'm assuming things are better now, but like you got to imagine there was some conversations being had with the release of like Scarlet and Violet with so many bugs and the hope I've always had with the Pokemon games on Switch is that they would like shoot up that top 10 even higher and just really really sell through the roof. Not I mean they've done amazing. I don't want to discredit anything. But I think if the conversations around the games had been more positive because of how well they ran and the game loop, all that kind of stuff, the different gameplay mechanics, if the games had really matured like people had hoped they would from handheld to essentially a console, I think I think uh, the games would have sold even better, and I think Nintendo would have really liked that, seeing more software being moved on their hardware. Again, not that they did poorly; they're still up in that top 10, but I think there's the potential for so much more if they really knock one of these Pokemon games out of the park. Yeah, I'm curious on how Legends ZA is going to do, but I'm really curious on what the next mainline game is going to do. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Another Mario Day surprise was a new alarm for Alarmo. And it says Nintendo kicks off Mario Day with a new free Alarmo theme. And it has 4 new tracks and it's Super Mario Brothers. I have it set up on mine. I set it up as soon as I saw the tweet go out and it's I'm 8 minutes away from Mario hitting the coin 10 times cuz at the top of the hour he will hit the coin for the depending on what time it is that many times and I have the sleep sounds on, but I don't use it as an alarm. It's a decoration on my desk here, and it's just kind of nice to hear it kind of start playing some what they call their sleep sounds, and it's the Super Mario Brothers theme, but it's just a little more relaxing, and they just did a fantastic job with it. I don't know for a fact if they also added something else, but when I went in to check the Mario Kart stuff it said it had new tracks after I had downloaded. So I don't know if it was something I missed the last time I was checking checking that alarm theme, or if they did put some new tracks out there for Mario Kart. And so if you have Alarmo and you got to make sure you go and update, you can get the Super Mario Brothers theme. You can also check and see if there was new Mario Kart tracks as well if you were missing those ones before this latest update. Speaking of Mario Day, the eShop is the sales are they're good. They're good sales this time around. You've got Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker 30% off. You can get it with the DLC. For 30% off. So you can get the game itself for $27.99. You can get the DLC for $4.19, Or of course, you can get them bundled as well for $32.18. Luigi's Mansion 3 is $39.99, 33% off. You're getting the DLC for $6.99. If you have not purchased the DLC, if you have Luigi's Mansion 3 and you have not purchased the DLC, get it. Get it. Now, mind you, this DLC is a multiplayer pack. You can play, if you got the Joy-Con, you can play with up to 8 people, and it is the best multiplayer game on Switch with that many people. No question. Like, the way you use Luigi and the Poltergust, and it's a team of Luigis versus a team of Gooigis. You're doing dodgeball. You're doing some modes where it honestly reminded me a lot of Diddy Kong Racing, because you're like in an inner tube and you've got to push yourself around with the Poltergust and collect different coins. They are fantastic mini games. So good. So if you've got that many people to play with on the couch, it's worth it. I've done it a handful of times, and it's so fun. Of course, these games work like 2v2, but if you can get up to 4v4, so good. Next up, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, of course, always on sale. These are deeply discounted. You can pick up the main game for $9.99, the gold edition for $14.99. They've got all the different DLCs as well. Sparks of Hope, also deeply discounted. You can get that, the gold edition for $22.49, or the main game for $14.99. All the DLC is on sale as well. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, $23.99. It's okay, like, but for that big of a discount, might be worth checking out if it's been on your list. Mario versus Donkey Kong, this one's priced at that sweet spot right now at $34.99. I had a lot of fun playing through this. It's very reminiscent of OG Donkey Kong, but playing with the minis, and I had a really good time with it, honestly. And it was really fun to play co-op with my girlfriend's son. So if you have a younger kid to play this one with, pick it up for $34.99. It is fantastic. Paper Mario Origami King you can get for $39.99. Super Mario Brothers Wonder you can get for $41.99. Super Mario Maker 2, $39.99. Super Mario RPG is $41.99. And Yoshi's Crafted World is $39.99. Now, you've also got a handful of these sales happening in retail. So if you wanted to get any of these games at retail, you can. And you're looking at about 30% off on a lot of these games. So if you want to add to that physical collection for first-party Nintendo games, now is the time to do it. Lastly, here we're going to be looking at kind of a rumor, like maybe it's actually happening. It's based on a patent here. So it says new Nintendo patent hints that improved voice chat will be on Switch 2. So it says a new patent from Nintendo seems to suggest that voice chat will be better implemented into the Switch 2, finally overcoming one of our biggest complaints with Switch 1. The patent was filed in November of 2024 before being published by the United States Patent Application Office late last month. The main thrust of the text and diagram appears to be outlined akin to in-game proximity chat, or as the summary confusingly puts it, when the sound heard by the user can be gradually switched from the sound acquired by the residual virtual microphone at the position before movement to the sound acquired by the virtual microphone at the current position. Nice and clear, eh? Naturally, proximity chat has been a feature of online gameplay for years, but the Nintendo patent seems to be all about making the experience of an abrupt change of sound output less jarring for the players. There's a bunch of usual confusing patent talk within, but it's mostly about the gradual decrease and increase of sound from two virtual microphones before, after movement, as shown in these following diagrams that they have on the site here. So this, like, hopefully we are finally moving into an era with Nintendo that voice chat is going to be something that is in the system. I say that, but even for me, and I can't say this is for everybody, because there's going to be people that play in their living rooms. I totally get it. But the majority of my voice chat is always happening through Discord. So what I really hope is that the Switch introduces Discord into Switch 2. That would be fantastic, just like Xbox and PlayStation have done. But it is nice to see that they are at least thinking about the uh having, having this proximity chat and making chat hopefully native, at least within the system, and not tied to the app. And I'm pretty sure I understand why they did it. I think a lot of it has to do with lag. There's a lot. I remember reading years ago about like voice chat on Xbox and like, the way they were able to do it and the compression that needs to take place so that it doesn't cause your games to lag, because it's more information going back and forth that that could potentially be an issue. And so hopefully we're going to see games natively, and and there's a couple things here. Not only be able to do this with wired headsets, but wireless headsets as well, because right now, if you're using a Bluetooth headset, you can't use voice chat on even games like Fortnite, which support voice chat via a headset that's plugged in. So again, and I mean, can you imagine in Mario Kart, like flying by somebody and I mean, it's a little bit nerve wracking, especially if you stream like I do, because people could say things that are very inappropriate or could get you banned. But if you're playing with friends, just being able to do some trash talk as like maybe you go past them in a bullet bill or something along those lines, there could be a lot of fun moments that take place because of proximity chat and whatnot. Like, I mean, if you've played games like Warzone, like when you kill somebody and you can hear them screaming in their microphone, it's kind of entertaining, honestly. Like it's pretty funny. So hopefully we're gonna see more of just more like this, more voice chat, more, seeing proximity might like, how's this all gonna play out? And I think even things Splatoon Splatoon could benefit from proximity chat and being able to, talk a little bit of trash or whatever when you take somebody out. And so, hopefully we're really going to see Nintendo move into modern times, if you will, with this next iteration of the Switch. And I'm really excited for what the future holds. So that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo News Daily. And if you got any comments, make sure to leave them below, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, and we will see you in the next one.